If you have kids in Japan, 2023 is the last year you can open a Junior NISA account for them. It's a pretty unique opportunity and it's going away. So what is Junior NISA? How does it work? And should you open one for your child? Let's talk about it. So Junior NISA first started in 2016 and this year is the last chance to open an account for a child. From next year, existing NISA accounts will continue to exist and they'll continue to grow tax-free until the child reaches the age of 18, but you will no longer be able to open new accounts. You won't be able to invest any new money into the account. Originally, the money and the investments in a Junior NISA account were supposed to be locked until the child reached the age of 18, but when the government decided to end the program, they changed the rules. And now from next January, so from January 2024, you'll be able to take out the money at any time without penalty and it will be tax-free. Now, of course, it's much better to leave the money in there to continue growing tax-free. But for some reason, if you need it, there's an emergency, you can get the money out whenever you want. Let's backtrack a bit and talk about the details of the Junior NISA program. So a Junior NISA account can be opened on behalf of a child by a parent or a legal guardian. The account and the contents belong to the child. This is really important. So the money does not belong to the parents. You can put in up to 800,000 yen per year. You can do this at any time. It's kind of like a regular NISA account in that way. So there's no schedule. You don't have to do it monthly. You can pay in as much as you like, as little as you like, anytime during the year. Opening the account does not commit you to funding the account. So you can open the account and not put any money in, that's fine. Or you can pay in up to the maximum of 800,000 yen. Within the account, you can invest in Japan listed stocks, ETFs, REITs, and mutual funds. If you are a US citizen and your children are also US citizens, then they are bound by all the IRS regulations and things that make it difficult for you to invest in Japan. So if you have a Junior NISA account for an American citizen child, please be sure not to unwittingly invest in any PFICs, which basically means that you cannot use ETFs, you cannot use REITs, and you cannot use mutual funds, and you need to stick to individual Japanese companies. Of course, the IRS is not going to recognize Junior NISA as being tax exempt, so for Americans, it might end up not being worth the trouble. If you want to open a Junior NISA account, the whole thing will take about a month. So definitely do not leave it until the last minute. I would recommend doing so as soon as possible and certainly before the end of the summer if you want to use this year's Junior NISA account. Don't leave it too late because if the opening process doesn't finish in time, you won't be able to buy anything in the account. So definitely get on that quite quickly. Let's take a little look inside Rakuten Securities Junior NISA account. Okay, let's take a look at the Junior NISA account on Rakuten Securities. Unfortunately, I don't have access to any other brokers Junior NISA. We put all our grandkids Junior NISAs with Rakuten, but I'm pretty sure the functionality is going to be similar, even if the buttons and the layout are different. So when you first log into the account, you're going to see this screen, which is very similar to an adult Rakuten Securities account. Now the big difference is this little toggle here. So this allows you to toggle between this is minor, so miseinen is a minor, someone who's not of age yet, a minor kind of general account, and the Junior NISA account. And you can switch between the two. And this is important because once you move money into the Junior NISA account, you won't be able to take it out again for now. So that's the thing to keep in mind here. As you can see, we don't actually have any investments or money in the general account. All the investments and all the money have been moved into the Junior NISA account to take advantage of the tax-free status in there. So let's take a look at the inside of the account. So the Junior NISA screen is much simpler than the general account screen. The general account screen has all the same tabs as the adult accounts. The Junior NISA version is very stripped down and simplified. So we can see here, so this is the total for the account at the top here. And you can toggle between the previous day's result and the previous month's result. That doesn't really matter. We're investing for the long term. So we don't care what happened yesterday or last month. We want to look towards the future. This section is for equities. So Japanese stocks, Japanese listed stocks, ETFs, REITs, and so on. As you can see, we haven't bothered choosing stocks and things like that. This section is for mutual funds. So mutual funds, we put the bulk of the investments, in fact all of the investments, into mutual funds, and if we click here we can see a list, and all the investments are in the Emaxis Slim All Country Fund. This is a whole world stock market, so it includes mostly the US, developed countries, developing countries, Japan, the whole world stock market basically. It's very diversified, it's very low cost. I think it's the most likely to grow over the long term. And here we can toggle between equities and mutual funds as well. If you want to buy something, you can search for it here. This would be for stocks. This would be for mutual funds. For mutual funds, you type in the name. Okay, so we can search for things here, or we can choose from the super search tool, which is quite useful, ranking tools, any favorites, and so on. Now, the interesting thing here is that the super search tool is going to boot you back into the general account. So all the functionalities in here, and the Junior NISA account only has kind of buy stuff and look at your investments in here. These buttons at the bottom, that's the account holder information, and this is the button to move money. And you get this warning screen that says, look, if you put money in here, you won't be able to get it out again until the child is 18. And that is true at the moment, but will change. From next year, rather than all the money being locked in until the child's 18, from January 2024, you can take the money out anytime tax-free, but doing so will close the account, so you won't be able to use the account anymore. And it's very simple. So you basically select here, type in how much money you want to move, so you'd have the total up here. So if you put some money into the child taxable account, the money would be there, and you can then move it into Junior NISA, and then from Junior NISA you can then buy things and so on. So it's kind of a three-step process. So you'd move money into the Rakuten taxable account, and then you'd move that money into the Junior NISA account, and then within the Junior NISA account you would buy something and it would go into here. And that's it really. So the Junior NISA account, fairly simple, especially if you're already used to using Rakuten already. Now, to pay money into the child's investment account, that Miseinen Sogo Koza, they're going to need a bank account in their name. Now, I have heard that some people maybe were able to send money from their own account by changing the sender name field in the account, but I haven't tried that. I'm not sure if it works. The easiest way to do it is to get a bank account for the child, put money into the bank account, and then send the money from that bank account to the broker account so that the child is sending money to themselves, and that is the most foolproof way of doing it. We mentioned this earlier, but the Junior NISA account, the child broker account, these all belong to the child. So once you put money in them, once you give that money to the child, that's not your money anymore, it's their money. And it will remain in the account. And once they reach the age of 18, they will get control of that account. So it's very important to not just put money into their Junior NISA account, but also to talk to your kids about personal finance and money, and make sure they understand how to invest, how to think about the long term, so that when they reach the age of 18, rather than taking out the money and buying stuff or blowing it on something, they will at least consider leaving the money in there, or maybe using it to fund a new NISA account. And if they do that, then they could pretty much set themselves up for a very comfortable retirement in their 20s. Why open a Junior NISA account? Well, there's a few reasons. The first thing is that it's a very easy way for grandparents and family members to give money to the child, and then that money can be invested and it can grow over the long term, and it will be tax-free. So any profits, any capital gains will be tax-free within the account. Just as an example, let's say you put the money into a whole world stock fund. The historical return on a whole world stock fund has been about 8% a year. If we look at the rule of 72, That tells us how long it will take things to double. Every 9 years, the invested money should double. So if you put 800,000 yen into the stock market this year, if the stock market grows at the historical rate, then in 18 years' time, your child may well have just over 3 million yen in their account, and that will go quite a long way towards paying for their university, helping them buy a home, set up a business, and that kind of thing. Or they could just invest it into a new NISA account, and then that will continue growing for decades until they reach retirement. So you can pretty much take care of their retirement just by putting 800,000 yen into a Junior NISA account this year. Another benefit is that by opening the Junior NISA account, you get access to the child taxable account. Now, this is not tax-free. You would have to pay the 20% capital gains tax, and then of course 20% on any dividends, but it's a good way to get access to this account. So if you wanted to continue giving your child money and investing it on their behalf, you could do that in the child taxable account as well. And the child would also get access and control of this account when they reach the age of 18. Now, for some people, it might not make sense to open a Junior NISA account. So for Americans, we mentioned the problems earlier, it might not be worth the hassle. And for people who are not maxing out their own taxable accounts, so for example, if you're not filling up your NISA account, if you're not maxing out your iDeCo account, then perhaps it might make sense for you to invest any money you have access to into your own tax-free accounts. So try to fill up your NISA account, and then that money will grow. It will be entirely yours, under your control, and then when your children are older, say they go to university, say they want to buy a house and so on, you can just give them the money. You can give them up to 1.1 million yen a year tax-free as a gift. You can pay their educational expenses. That doesn't count as a gift. And you have a lot more flexibility that way. If you open the Junior NISA account, that money is not yours anymore, it belongs to the child, and you kind of lose control of the process. And you also can't use it for other stuff. So that's something that is definitely worth thinking about. Perhaps for some people it's going to make sense to use their own tax-exempt accounts rather than creating ones for their children as well. Now, if you are able to max out your NISA account and your iDeCo account, and you're already investing for yourself, then at that point it might make sense to open a Junior NISA account and put some extra money into there so that your child has a head start when they reach the age of 18. If you're enjoying the video, if you want to get more information about personal finance, about investing, about retirement, about life in Japan, please do subscribe. It really helps us out and it helps us continue to make these videos. So what do? We have 3 grandchildren in Japan, and we got their parents to open Junior NISA accounts for them, and we've been paying into those for the last few years. I think it's a good idea. I think it's going to be a chance to talk to the kids about money, about investing. We can, when they're a little bit older, my eldest granddaughter's 11, she's almost old enough to do this. So maybe when she starts junior high school, I will show her the accounts, talk to her about them, discuss how it works and my thinking around it, and then hopefully when she's 18 she's just going to roll the money into a new NISA account and leave it to grow for the long term. How about you? Have you been using Junior NISA? How have you found it so far? If you haven't, are you going to open an account this year? If you have any questions about Junior NISA, please leave them in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.